It's KarKix. Classics, custom, sports cars and trucks, plus news, great places to go, and products you'll love. Don't forget to check us out on the web at KarKix.com. That's KarKix.com, and on Facebook and Twitter. Now, here's the host of KarKix, Bob Lang.
Oh my goodness. Welcome. Since this is our first show on the Voice America Sports Channel, I'd like to take a moment and introduce myself and KarKix. We started out in New England, spread to Florida and the Southwest on broadcast radio, and now worldwide on one of the biggest, if not the biggest, talk radio net on the web. As Heidi, our red-hot car hop, said, I'm Bob Lang, and since this is our first show to a new audience, I'll spot up a little background. My mom swears I said car is my first words. I was an obsessed collector of Matchbox and Corgis as a kid. When I was a teenager, I raced the third fastest sprint kart in the state of Ohio. Unfortunately, I was not as fast as it was. As a teen, I could ID any car from the 50s and 60s at night by its taillight signature. I convinced my folks that mini bikes and a 57 Chevy weren't too much for a 13-year-old to work on. And in high school, I began to drag race motorcycles for Honda, and, that was tough, and drive a 5-ton Ford for summer money. Later years, I started solo racing with the SCCA, and I opened a restoration shop. These are all just life steps towards a 67 Shelby, and then producing ads for GMC Truck after college. And it was there I got to drive in commercials for BF Goodrich as a precision driver and do a few light stunts. I spent a lot of years in radio and TV teleproduction, too. 56 not-so-average cars and one patient, car-loving wife later. I'm happy to be here with you to take it to the next level. KarKix is a labor of love, and I and a small posse of co-conspirators hope to engage you for a short while in the automotive world. While we cover lightly some automotive news, we're trying to keep the focus on classics, hot rods, custom cars, sports cars, and occasionally other recreational vehicles, even bikes. We ride those too. We want you to participate too. We want you to participate right now via Facebook and Twitter at KarKix. That's right, we spell it that way. We like it. And we did it to make our English professor absolutely crazy. He had it coming. Our goal is to put interesting automotive folks on your radio or internet radio player or whatever comes next. We'll do our best to entertain and inform you. If you tune in, you're going to hear from people you know, like Gary Bennett and Amy Assiter from Barrett Jackson, or maybe even Gary Patterson at Shelby American, Barry McGuire at Car Crazy TV, and recognizable voices like Charlie Ross at Gooding & Company. You know the voice if you don't know the name. He's the one that goes, I'm selling at 7,000 pounds. I'm selling at your car, sir. And a beautiful 74 Pinto it is. Yeah, you've seen the Gooding & Company auctions, right? And even guitarist George Benson, Mark Roman ran into him this year. Hot Rod Magazine editor and Speed Channel regular Steve Magnate, he's been on the show in the past, and many more. However, the shows that I hope you'll find particularly interesting are the shows with interviews of folks you don't know or may not know. These are the folks who are making advances, changes, progressing the hobby, doing good things that we hope you'll find interesting. If you tuned in to learn how to replace your thermostat or why your 86 Buick Century whines when you turn the steering wheel, you're not going to get that fix here. We don't do that. Nope, not now, not ever. There are other guys that do that really, really well, and we like those guys. But we don't do that as well as they do, so that's what they're going to do, and we're going to do something else. If you're wondering what it's like to sell your classic car at auction, or where you can get a brand newly made 67 Camaro body to build up, or what's going on this week in the car business on the street, yeah, this is the sweet spot. We want you to really enjoy this, so be sure to send us your comments. My email is bob@karkix.com. It's just that easy. And we're on Facebook, so you can always get involved with the show. Let's get this party started. With Ford reinstating a dividend, highway fatalities at an all-time low, and thousands in rebates on new cars, it would seem that the auto world is doing well, and it is, in many ways. It's also a great time for car shoppers, in that selection is broad and deep. You can buy, or at least wish to buy like me, a Lambo Aventador and have what was just a few years ago a GTP prototype in speed and handling. But now with all the creature comforts and safety gear that'll keep the average driver from easily draining his family's gene pool. You like green? You can buy a full electric, a hybrid electric, a hybrid gas electric, or clean direct injection diesel. There are even electric motorcycles now. Want an SUV or a CUV? You better make up your mind. It's like that old John Belushi thing, cup or cone. Mini, compact, medium, or suburban planet killer. They come in all sizes now. Want a hot rod? There are companies happy to build you a new 67 Mustang hot rod, or fab up anything you have in your mind into a showstopper. Like a restored classic, they're making new parts for more and more old cars. You can now buy almost every new part for a classic Ford or Chevy truck, a Mustang, a Chevelle, a Camaro, and even the MGB. These are the golden years again. Now, if you just need a car as an appliance, Nissan's got new Versas for under $12,000. Or if you need your soul stirred up, the Boss Mustang is only $42,000. Both of those are bargains. Almost all the pony cars are back, and they have teeth. Remember the late 70s, early 80s? The 455 V8s with 175 horsepower, the Corvettes with 170 horsepower? We thought the days of performance were gone. Well, ding dong, someone's at the door packing big horsepower on the showroom floor, and with 0% for 72 months. Even Shelby American is offering a turnkey 1,000 horsepower Mustang that runs on pump gas. You want an Alpha? They're back. They're covered in Dodge wrap. Fiat's back. There's even a badass sports car designed and built in Mexico on its way north. You want weird? Volvo is now Chinese, along with Saab in pieces and Hummer. Buick sold more in China than in the U.S. Oh, and Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Saturn, and Mercury, all gone. Who bet on that happening? Not a bookie in Vegas would take it. Yes, Janet, things can be strange and wonderful. That's what keeps it interesting. And that's what we cover. In addition, you'll hear quite a bit from Mark Roman, a contributing editor. Those of you in the Phoenix area might remember Mark. Also, we have Ellis Martin, one of the KarKix executives. We make him work too. He has a fleet of classic Mustangs, and we encourage him to go to the car scene in the better parts of LA and send reports. And so far, he's come up with some doozies. Cars so rare, they're one of two, and some very interesting people. I think he had a 1948 Bentley Mark VI Malibu Special, one of two left in the United States. We've interviewed a lot of people you know. I mentioned a few earlier. Donald Osborne from What's My Car Worth, Wayne Kini from Chasing Classic Cars, and more. And KarKix supports a few nonprofit efforts as well, including Mission Freedom's Children. This is a charity begun by Amy Assiter, the bidder's assistant for Barrett Jackson. And we're also involved in the battle against texting and driving. And we're glad you're here. Now on with the Pony Wars.
KarKix will be right back.
And now a KarKix car question. With a 1-inch shorter wheelbase than the Corvette, this pony had a production run over its lifetime that makes it a very rare representative of the red, white, and blue. We'll tell you what it is after this. Whether you have one car or 30 that represent a big investment, you want it to run its best so it lasts a long, long time. Well, there's technology, new technology, that can help you do that. It's called a pulse plug. Here's why its technology should be in your engine. Until now, every gallon of gas you bought was ignited by a simple but ancient spark plug. It's outdated technology that's barely changed in 100 years. Until now, with Pulsar pulse plugs, you can change to a new, eco-friendly, advanced technology igniter to make every drop of gas burn better and cleaner. Here's how it works. Electrical energy from the engine's ignition coil is stored in the Pulsar pulse plug's built-in capacitor. At the exact moment it's needed, that energy is released at an amazingly powerful and quick 2-nanosecond high-energy pulse. The result? Improved combustion efficiency. Your vehicle burns fuel more effectively, giving you improved MPG, less emissions, and better overall drivability. Even the fashion-conscious Prius in an EPA fuel consumption lab saw notable improvements in MPG. Pulse plugs may look similar to spark plugs on the outside, but inside the technology advances of Pulsar are evident and generates a spark with 20,000 times greater energy than any spark plug. Don't wait another tankful. You can find Pulsar pulse plugs at Advanced Auto Care, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and at any AutoZone near you. Or check us out on the web too at pulstarpower.com. That's PULSTAR power.com. PulstarPower.com. You wouldn't drink and drive, that would be stupid, but what most people don't realize is that texting has become an even greater danger. Many people assume the problem is mostly teens, but that's not the case. In fact, almost half of all grown-up adults admit to texting while driving. 50%! Compared to only 34% of teens. Distracted drivers were responsible for over 500,000 police-reported crashes in 2008 alone. That's just huge. 500,000 crashes. Hey, keep your attention on the road, not on cell phones and other mobile devices. It's easy. Just ignore it. If you can't do that, put the device in your trunk. And if you can't do either of those, don't drive a vehicle at all, because I'm driving here. I know you can't control how other people use their phones. You can control how and when you use yours. So turn off your phone before you turn on your car. If your car's cool enough, leave the radio off too. There's some music. This message brought to you by your friends at KarKix.com. And now the answer to the KarKix car question. The AMX was only considered a pony by some. It was considered by its fans and press a Corvette competitor because it had 2 seats and was made in the USA. It came with a 390 V8, and the AMX offered top-notch performance at an affordable price. AMC also had the 440h and the Rogue versions of the American Rambler. The Hurst SC Rambler with 1,512 built was probably the only production model made and promoted for a specific drag racing class. But the AMX, in size and performance, in our humble opinion, was a pony car from American Motors. In case you were busy with life and missed it, it happens. The Pony Wars are back in full force. For those too young to remember the Pony Wars, they ran hard from 67 to 71 and trailed off as air and safety regs threw the auto industry into retreat. And they were done by 1974, in my humble opinion. They were a performance battle between the Barracuda Challenger, the Mustang, the Camaro Firebird, and the AMX. If I missed somebody, my apologies. They were compact-sized cars with muscle car motors that grew in power, then size, until the whip came down. There were levels of performance then as there is now. While a Formula 400 Firebird was nice, a 455 Trans Am was better. A Mustang GT was cool, but a Boss 429 was spectacular. Challenger looked hot in base trim, but an AAR 426 Hemi was a show stealer. In April '64, when Iacocca decided to go after the young crowd, he triggered a response from Chevy that took a while, but came in the form of a Camaro, a little bigger, packing a full complement of motors. AMC, still its own company, wanted to play too. The AMX was a 2-seater and was made that way from 1968 to 1970. For 70-71, it just jumped over to become a badge on the Javelin. The AMC motor, a 390 with 325 horsepower, was adequate, but it didn't hold the attention that Ford, Chevy, and Dodge models did. Today, the AMX is a rare animal. About 19,000 were built. When you consider that was the first week of Mustang orders, you can see how rare the AMX really is. While the AMC AMX crowd argue that the AMX has 2 seats and was a Corvette competitor, the public saw it in the pony car class, a tough class to graduate from. So as the Pony War continued, the big three were taking each advantage they could. More power, more comfort, better handling, but mostly more power. Ford began the game with the 260 V8 in the Mustang. That quickly became the iconic 289 2 and 4-barrel. In '67, it grew to 302, which was the primary Ford motor for 40 years in many vehicles. It wasn't until 2001 when the original 302 went out of production. It was last used in the Ford Explorer. Plymouth Barracuda carried Chrysler's pony car banner from 2 weeks before Mustang, April 1st, '64, all the way up to 1974. The big back glass and fast roofline was added to the Valiant platform and given a slant 6 or a 4.5-liter V8 with 180 horsepower. In 1967, the newly styled Barracuda got the 6.2 383 V8. Finally, the Barracuda had a little teeth. 1968 saw what most would have expected. The 426 was plopped into that little Cuda. Sadly, only 50 were made, and they were all sold to racers. So if you can find a '68 426 Barracuda that is provably original, that's a rare car. The Barracuda needed to show something to race fans, as the rule of the day was race on Sunday, sell on Monday. The following year, Barracuda was available with either 340, 383, or new for 1969, the 440 Super Commando V8. For 1970 at Plymouth, the 426 Hemi remained available with 350 horsepower, and the '71 Hemi Cuda convertible is now considered one of the most valuable collector cars. Only 11 were built, 7 of which were sold domestically, and examples of these cars have sold for $2 million. In 1970 and '71, the Shaker Hood and Spicer-built Dana 60 rear axle were available. The Shaker Hood was available with 340, 383, 444 barrel and 446 pack, and the 426 Hemi engine. But in 1970, Barracuda got a cousin in the form of the Dodge Challenger. A white one was made famous or infamous in the 1971 cult movie Vanishing Point. Even without the exposure, the car would have grabbed the spotlight just on looks. Sure, the Cuda was already established, but the Challenger was like the new girl in school. A 1970 only model was called the Dodge Challenger TA. Made to race in the SCCA Trans Am, Dodge built a street version called the Dodge Challenger TA. Street versions took the 340 and added a trio of two-barrel carbs atop an aluminum intake manifold, creating the 346-pack. Dodge rated the 346-pack at 290 horsepower, only 15 more than the original 340 engine, and the same rating as a Z28 Camaro and Boss Mustang. The engine actually made about 320 horsepower. It breathed air through a suitcase-size air scoop molded into the pinned-down, hinged, matte black fiberglass hood. Original numbers matching high-performance 70, 71 Challengers are among the most pricey collector cars right now. The rarity of specific models with big engines is the result of low sales with the correspondingly low production numbers. The 440 and 426 Hemi engines nowadays command crazy-sounding prices over the smaller engines. The 70 and 71 models tend to generate more attention. Back then, performance and style options were still available to the public that made those models not only high horsepower, but pretty comfortable too. But the number of usable and restorable Challengers is falling. Many collectors now search for later models. Many clones of the 70 and 71 Challengers with high-performance drivetrains have been created using Secretarial 6s and 318-powered non-RT or non-TA cars, installing one of the Magnum performance engine combinations, 340, 383, 440, 426, any of those hot motors, and adding specific badging and hoods to make them come up to market. Total production from 70 to 74 was 165,437 cars. That may sound like a lot, but the way they were run, I'm not sure how many are surviving. From 69 to 71 was the height of the pony wars. All the muscles, all the ponies were at hand, pretty evenly matched. Not if you ask a specific brand fan. The Chevy guys knew the Camaro had it made with the Z28. The Ford boys were talking Boss with the Boss 302. Even a few got to say Boss 429. Chevy was hot on the Mustang's tail with the Camaro, launched in October 66 with a 1967 car. The new Camaro name was explained when the press asked production managers, said, "What's a Camaro?" They were told, "A small, vicious animal that eats Mustangs." Actually, it's a French slang term for a friend or companion. Unless you ask Ford researchers, who say it means a shrimp-like creature and an arcane term for loose bowels. You knew they'd come up with something like that, didn't you? In some automotive periodicals before official release, it was codenamed Panther. We'll let you decide, but Camaro sounds fine to us. Camaro from 67 to 69 came with a Secretarial 6, or 302, or 307, 327, 350, 396. They were all available in the 67 to 69 Camaro. A Muncie 4-speed manual was available, and it felt good. For the 1969 model year, the vast array of new performance options could make you dizzy. Really dizzy. A GM corporate edict forbade Chevrolet from installing engines larger than 400 in the Camaro. Chevy also knew that there was a market for ultra-powerful Camaros built with the Corvette's L72 427 cubic inch, about 7-liter engine. How did the corporate corpuscles on the 10th floor know? Well, the success of dealerships like Yenko Chevrolet, Nicky Chevrolet, and Dana Chevrolet. These are the guys who were installing the big mills, and they were the proof. Those dealers are vindicated by time as well, as Copo Camaros are now worth the price of a nice house. So Chevy quietly offered 2 central office production orders, or COPO options, number 9560 and 9561 for the 69 model year. The COPO 9561 option brought the insane Let's Boogie Rockin' in the USA L72 big block engine, making 425 horsepower, but back then, power numbers were underrated, so it was more vicious than that. Don Yenko ordered several hundred of these cars, along with a variety of other high-performance options, to create the now legendary Yenko Camaro. Overall, Chevy produced just 1,015 L72-equipped Camaros. Who wants one now? Go ahead, raise your hands. Mine's up. The new model Camaro with split bumper in 70 brought more weight and comfort, and the F-body that would run into the 80s. Built for the last of the pony era, the F-body Camaro was cool looking, and healthy sales kept it in front of the public eye. The 454 would have to carry the Camaro to the top of the Pony Car Hill because the end was just ahead in 71-72 with air and safety regs, followed up by the oil crisis in 73. Meanwhile, its cousin cross town at Pontiac, the Firebird, was gaining its own following, including yours truly, who found a Trans Am to be the ignition that caused me to wind up married. Hey, it happens. The marriage is lasting a lot longer than the quality of the F-bodied Firebird, I'm telling you. If Ford could have a cousin for the Mustang like the 67 Mercury Cougar, which shared its platform, why not Camaro and Firebird? Most buyers opted for one of the V8 engines, the 326 with a 2-barrel carb producing 250, the HO, or high-output engine of the same displacement with a 4-barrel and producing 285 horsepower, or the 400 cubic inch from the GTO with 325 horsepower. A Ram Air option was also available in 68, providing functioning hood scoops, high-flow heads with heavy-duty valve springs, and a cute camshaft. Power for the Ram Air package was the same as the conventional 400, but the engine was rev-happy. In 1969, Firebird offered a $725 optional handling package called the Trans Am Performance and Appearance Package, named after the Trans Am Racing Series. Of these first Trans Ams, only 689 hardtops and 8 convertibles were made. These convertibles are very expensive today, and even the clones are commanding good money. There was an additional Ram Air 4 option for the 400 cubic inch displacement engine during that year. Complementing the Ram Air 3, these generated 345 and 335 horsepower respectively. The 350 HO engine was revised again with a different cam and cylinder heads, making 330. The 303 race engine never made it to the public. I know Chevy guys like the look of their Camaros, but the integrated front bumper of the Firebird really looked hot. Definitely more modern. The second-gen Firebird was late to the party, but in 1970 brought friends to the party in the form of cubic inches. I mean, if 454 cubic inches is good, a 455 HO's got to be better, right? Well, it was for me and my girlfriend, now wife. The 455 cubic inch 7.5-liter engine first made its appearance in 71 as the 455 HO. In 1973 and 4, a special version called the SD 455 was offered. The SD 455 had strengthened block and included 4-bolt main bearings and added material in various locations to improve the motor strength. In my humble opinion, this was the last train out for the muscle car era. Back with more in a moment.
Don't forget to tell our sponsors that you heard about them on KarKix. That's how we keep the show rolling. KarKix will be right back.
And now it's time for a KarKix car question. This pony car was busy in racing, but the press was talking up its luxury and longer wheelbase. Its upgrade model had a standard scoop that was functional only when Ram Air was ordered. A blacked-out grille, side stripe, front and rear spoilers enhanced the muscular look. If it couldn't eliminate the competition with a 390 horsepower V8, it would blind them with its high-impact colors. We'll tell you what it is in just a moment. The Blackhawk Automotive Galleries are like no place you've ever experienced. Located an hour southeast of San Francisco in Danville, California, the Blackhawk encompasses nearly 70,000 square feet. With 4 exhibition galleries, an automotive reference library, and a museum store, plus a special events area and meeting room. The Blackhawk is a Smithsonian affiliate museum, open Wednesday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Learn more about the Blackhawk at blackhawkmuseum.org. See you there.
Hi, this is Gary Patterson from Shelby American, and you're getting your KarKix.
Are you in an automotive-related industry? If you'd like to advertise on KarKix, we offer social media, web, and on-air opportunities to automotive-based businesses that want to be heard by this very special audience. People who take action and get things done. Auto enthusiasts with the means to use products and services provided by quality companies. We have special programming that gives you the opportunity to get your message out with more than just a 60-second ad. To find out more, use the contact page at KarKix.com. And now the answer to our KarKix car question. Like the Mustang, the Mercury Cougar Eliminator offered the 428 Cobra Jet engine with and without Ram Air, drag pack with an oil cooler, and a 430-to-1 gear ratio Detroit locker rear axle. The Eliminator didn't use the shaker hood, but it did offer retina-searing paint. Mercury offered the Eliminator in a palette of high-impact blue, orange, and yellow exterior colors. And that's your KarKix car question. The cool thing about hot rods and classic cars is they represent a really broad section of people in the world. From Cuban guys with 57 Chevys that are baling wire and sticks, but they're the pride and joy of the family, all the way to the guy in Beverly Hills with a special Rolls Royce. And you never know where you're going to run into people who are not necessarily car guys, but passionate about cars. And Mark Roman ran into one such person in Scottsdale, Arizona. Mark, what's going on?
Welcome to KarKix, and it's an honor and a privilege. I don't know how this happened, but I'm standing here with the incredible George Benson. Mr. Benson, what an honor and a privilege.
Well, I see you like cars like I do, so we're in the right place at the Barrett Jackson car show.
I've seen you at the Playboy Jazz Festival a couple of times, and I've just followed your career as well. But you're here today to talk cars and to look at cars, and you were telling me about a special Cadillac you're looking for.
That's true. It's called the Cadillac Cyclone. It has two names. The experimental name is the X80, and it's built by General Motors. And it looks almost like a rocket, but it isn't quite as crazy as all of that. It is actually one of the finest looking cars I've ever seen. So I've been chasing it down for 40 years or more.
And you're saying that General Motors still has it?
They do. I found it at a museum. I think it was in Battle Creek. And I tried to buy it, and they said, no, we don't own the car. General Motors does. But General Motors didn't remember owning it. So they finally said, well, if we own the car, we want our car back. And I said, oh, I missed it, you know. So I went to the factory at General Motors, their museum in Detroit, and they let me spend a couple hours just taking pictures. You know, I was like in heaven. But the real thing would be to own the car, if at all possible.
Okay, I got to ask you, what's the favorite car you've ever owned?
The one I have now, the Rolls-Royce Phantom, it's the coupe, the two-door. It still has the suicide doors, but it is one of the most fantastic machines I've ever been in and ever owned. It is really a great.
You have a little collection?
No, I'm not really a collector, but I do have a 1959 Cadillac that looks like it just rolled out of the factory yesterday. That's a great car to drive around in because everybody just loves seeing it and they comment on it. And so it's a lot of fun to drive.
Is this your first time here, or do you come out every year?
I missed 1 year. Well, I'm glad I'm back on track because this show is really something special. And they do present some really fabulous automobiles, and people just have a ball buying them, you know. And there's some good deals to be had here, too.
Living proof that you never know who you're going to meet here. An honor and a privilege, sir. Mr. George Benson, and it's Mark Roman for KarKix.com.
KarKix will be right back.
KarChex will perform a 155-point pre-inspection auto inspection almost anywhere in the USA. They have detailed auto inspection reports. If you're going to buy a car, you want to get it inspected. It's likely the second largest investment you'll make. Get the gold package and receive a KarChex 155-point pre-purchase inspection, plus the added protection of Carfax. That's right, you'll get a Carfax vehicle history report. It's the KarKix KarChex. Say it 5 times fast, but check it out today at KarKix.com. It's the KarKix Car Cap, a great ball cap for just $10. You can be a part of the ruling elite with your KarKix Car Cap. Stop being laughed at by your mom. Get the hat. Just $10 plus tax and handling, and an agent of a semi-governmental agency will deliver it to wherever you get your U.S. mail. Get the KarKix Car Cap today at KarKix.com. That's KarKix.com.
Now buckle up, because here we go.
Coming April 17th, the unexpected, the new Ford Mustang. Brilliant new kind of car. A new generation of Fords for the new breed of Americans who want stick-shift action and room for 4, who collect sports car badges and trading stamps, who want the elegance of a European touring car and till now had to settle for basic transportation. This is for them. This is Mustang. With an unexpected variety of options, Mustang is the one car that's designed to be designed by you. Get ready to meet the unexpected April 17th at your Ford dealers. Mustang is only days away.
Lee Iacocca fired the first round of the pony car wars along with the Plymouth Cuda. When the public saw the 65 Mustang Fastback 2+2, the Barracuda was just not able to cope in the showroom. The 1965 Mustang was the automaker's most successful launch since the days of the Model A. The model is Ford's third oldest nameplate and sold 3 times the expected amount. Mustang first-year sales reached almost 420,000. This was a car based on the Ford Falcon platform. What a difference it would make, though. From its appearance at the World's Fair to its appearance in Goldfinger in 1964, this car was bred to be a winner. Demand was so high for the car, Ford scrambled to keep up. Some cars with 289 engines left the factory without the chrome fender badges denoting the larger engine, and more than one car left the plant with cutouts for the backup lights but no lights, or the ladder wiring harness needed to operate them, all to be fixed by the dealership later. In late 1964, Ford Motor Company contracted Holman and Moody, you old drag racers will remember them, to, quote, prepare, unquote, 10 427-powered Mustangs to run in the National Hot Rod Association's A-Factory Experimental Class in the 65 season. So kids, remember, be prepared. Early Mustangs also proved successful in road racing. The GT350R, the race version of the Shelby GT350, won 5 of the Sports Car Club of America's 6 divisions in 65. Shelby, yeah, Shelby, he's another KarKix program altogether. 1966 saw the grille and side scoops get a light revision, and in 67 got a new look. The Mustang retained the original body structure, but styling was refreshed, giving the Mustang a more massive look overall. Don't you ever wonder if it was to bulk up against the larger hourglass shape of the Camaro, that Ford was just trying to style for style keep up? Front and rear end styling was more pronounced, and the instrument panel got a thicker dash pad. The larger gauges, the hardtop fastback and convertible body continued as before. Federal safety features were standard that year, including an energy-absorbing steering column, 4-way emergency flashers, and softer interior knobs. The scent of future safety regs was in the air. In 1969 and 70, Mustang grew slightly more outside and added power and comfort features inside, while keeping lower trim models in the showroom to allow entry into the pony car races at a lower price. On the other side of the coin, the Boss 302 and 429 models were introduced to make the car very competitive. Mark Donohue and Parnelli Jones pretty well proved that. And the Boss 302 is returned today in a special edition. In 1969, though, modified versions of the 428 Mach 1, Boss 429, and Boss 302 took 295 United States Auto Club certified records at Bonneville. 295. In 1970, Mustang won the SCCA Trans Am Series Manufacturers Championship, again with Parnelli Jones. George Fulmer driving for Bud Moore. 1970 was of special significance as the only year that all the pony car manufacturers fielded factory teams with world-class drivers. In that particular high school class, Ford beat Chevrolet, Pontiac, Plymouth, Dodge, and AMC. The Clean Air Act, not entirely a bad thing, which was enacted by Congress and signed by President Richard Nixon on December 31, 1970, to control air pollution on a national level, gave the EPA power to develop and enforce regulations to protect the general public from exposure to airborne contaminants that are known to be hazardous to human health. The act was passed in 63, significantly amended in 70, 77, and 1990. But it was the 1970 changes that killed the automakers and mostly removed the will to live for most car guys who watched in disbelief as the proud ponies from every maker vaporized like a bad sci-fi dream. The Corvette fell to 170 horsepower, just 20 more than the six-cylinder of 1953. To put things in modern-day perspective, that is approximately 100 horsepower less than the current-day Honda Accord. The upgrade engine was only 230. Far cry, and I do mean cry, from the 400-plus horsepower motors of previous years. The next blow would be the oil crisis that started in October of 73 when the members of the Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, proclaimed an oil embargo in response to the U.S.'s decision to resupply the Israeli military during the Yom Kippur War. It lasted until March 1974. The 1-2 punch put the car biz in the lap of the imports, who had been dealing with high gas prices for a long time. Cars like the Datsun Z could make inroads into the market with a six-cylinder. The pony cars were still around for a while, but they were substantially less powerful than previous model years. Eventually, only Mustang would remain, with the exit of AMC in 71, Plymouth and Dodge in 74, and finally Camaro in 2002. Mustangs from 71 to 73 were huge, underpowered sleds. Chairman Lee would command them back to small size with a detuned 302 and a bunch of weight. It wasn't a pretty scene. Third-generation Camaro performance enthusiasts of the day gave the new Camaro positive reviews for its styling and handling, but also made critical remarks about the relatively low power ratings, 145 and 165 for Camaro's Z28, and Ford's Mustang GT with the 302, just 157 horsepower. You young folks should be in tears by now. These were soul-crushing days for those who could remember the heady days of the Pony War. Oh, sometimes I wonder if that's what desperately drug us to the disco era. Strangely, Buick gave the New World Order a try in 1987 with the Grand National Turbo V6. It made everybody's head turn. A black coupe with a turbo V6 that made V8 horsepower. By the 90s, progress was beginning in the goal to bring back the pony car power. But the Miatas and 300ZXs had made inroads and kept driving fun, but it wasn't the 60s pony era for sure. Fox body GT Mustangs and wedge-shaped IROC Camaros were beginning to solve the mysteries of the next generation of performance. By the mid-90s, motors were tapping on the 300 horsepower bar again. 305 for the Camaro, and in 96 the Mustang Cobra with 305. Of course, the Turbo Supra had 320 horsepower. All the ponies weren't back yet. The levels of trim and performance were there as before. Base models had 6 cylinders and less juice. Same notion applied: how fast do you want to go, how much money you got. Specialty builders and special models were inching the bar higher and higher. Old names like Shelby, and some not as familiar like Saleen, Roush, and Lingenfelter. They were getting a name. When Camaro came back in 2010, the 5th generation Mustang was already a hot seller and performing on and off the track. Today, we have similar layers. Only the numbers are better. Some names are missing from the list. No more Cuda, no more Firebird, but Challenger and Camaro are here to play Pony Wars again with the Ford Mustang. Life is good. We'll take a look at the modern-day pony cars in our next installment.
These young people nowadays, they're great. They've got their own music, their own way of looking at things. They've got their own car, too. Camaro by Chevrolet, with command performance, as new as the new generation itself. Camaro is now like this convertible rally sport version with wide stance and big car engines you can specify. This standard Camaro Sport Coupe is just the right car for the new generation that's starting to worry about the cost of the new generation. Sometimes I envy them, but not when I'm in my SS350 Rally Sport. Does that make me part of the new generation? Try a Camaro.
KarKix will be right back.
Now it's time for another KarKix car question. Which of these car makers did not have a pony car? A. Pontiac, B. Oldsmobile, C. Buick, D. Plymouth, E. American Motors. We'll give you the answer in just a moment. The Blackhawk Automotive Galleries are like no place you've ever experienced. Located an hour southeast of San Francisco in Danville, California, the Blackhawk encompasses nearly 70,000 square feet. With 4 exhibition galleries, an automotive reference library, and a museum store, plus a special events area and meeting room. The Blackhawk is a Smithsonian affiliate museum, open Wednesday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Learn more about the Blackhawk at blackhawkmuseum.org. See you there. You wouldn't drink and drive, that would be stupid, but what most people don't realize is that texting has become an even greater danger. Many people assume the problem is mostly teens, but that's not the case. In fact, almost half of all grown-up adults admit to texting while driving. 50%! Compared to only 34% of teens. Distracted drivers were responsible for over 500,000 police-reported crashes in 2008 alone. That's just huge! 500,000 crashes! Hey, keep your attention on the road, not on cell phones and other mobile devices. It's easy. Just ignore it. If you can't do that, put the device in your trunk. And if you can't do either of those, don't drive a vehicle at all, because I'm driving here. I know you can't control how other people use their phones. You can control how and when you use yours. So turn off your phone before you turn on your car. If your car's cool enough, leave the radio off too. There's some music. This message brought to you by your friends at KarKix.com. And now the answer to the KarKix car question. Which car maker did not have a pony car? Well, Buick had the Grand National muscle car, but not a pony car. Oldsmobile also had a muscle car, the 442, but no pony car in their barn. Hey, I didn't say pick just one.
Time to open up the KarKix travel guide.
For KarKix, it's Mark Roman, Scottsdale, the Gooding & Company, and I knew I'd run into him. I just didn't know where. It's Wayne Kini from Chasing Classic Cars. Wayne, what do you think of this down here?
Well, you know, we always love coming to Scottsdale. We've got 3 cars in this auction here. We've got a Gullwing, we've got this nice Ford Woody, and we've got a Ferrari Lusso that's outside in the tent. So 3 cars, we hope they do really well.
Oh my gosh, I'm just a fan. I love the show, but is it stressful down here, waiting to see what's going to happen?
Nah, you can't be stressed out. You know, you just enjoy the company, seeing your friends, seeing all these beautiful cars, and what happens, happens. I mean, you know, you have no control over it, so you just hope for the best.
What season are you into now?
We're shooting season 5, 6, and 7, with an option for another 4 after that. So people see us on 26 episodes this year.
My favorite, it's the Lancia.
Yeah, Lancia's great cars. Yeah. I just bought one. Matter of fact, bought another one yesterday.
That Aurelia that you had on the block, that was at Amelia Island or was that Monterey?
I don't think we had an Aurelia at Monterey or Amelia. So, that was a coupe. Yes.
The coupe.
I'm sorry, not the Spider. Yes, the coupe. Yeah, that was a great car.
Definitely. How's the show evolved?
A lot of people calling us now. We find a lot of cars due to the fact that the show's on the air. So people call me with all sorts of hidden treasures constantly. It's excellent for business. People are just fantastic. The fans are great.
At 40 Motorsports, you've got actually a 67 Beetle sitting up there right now, yellow.
Yeah.
I had one identical to that back in about 83. Wish I had it again.
We love Volkswagen Beetles. You know, everybody's got a story with a Volkswagen.
Amazing. What do you think the market's going to do or in trend for this year?
I think the market's fine. I think that the high-end cars are doing well. The muscle cars have come down to reality now so that someone can really buy them and enjoy them instead of all the crazy numbers they used to be. And I think the market in general is doing very well. You know, it's a world economy, and people enjoy collecting cars throughout the world, so it's working well.
And looking forward to seeing you tomorrow with the Russo and Steele. You're doing a seminar tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we're going to do a seminar. We got a bunch of panelists over there, some real cool guys in the car industry presenting different facets. You know, Corky's in the tire business. McKeel sells collector car insurance. So we've got press people that write in magazines. So it's going to be an all-around good show. And we'll talk about the market in general and what maybe is evolving and what's emerging, or the emerging market.
Well, looking forward to it, and welcome to Scottsdale. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, here's the host of KarKix, Bob Lang.
Let's talk about Camaro. The production of the 5th generation Camaro was approved on August 10th, 2006. Production of the coupe began March 16th, 2009 in LS trim. I think the LS stands for less stuff. Then there's the LT for lots of trim, and the SS trim level, which stands for super sport, or superbly satisfying, I think. LS and LT models are powered by a V6 producing 304 horsepower or 312 horsepower for the 2011 model, mated to either a 6-speed manual or automatic with manual shift. The SS is powered by the 6.2-liter LS3 V8 producing 426 horsepower. Yes, Mom, I said 426 horsepower off the showroom floor. Then there's the new ZL1. Oh my. Its body is uniquely designed to maximize downforce for optimal grip and control, and according to Chevy, everything about the ZL1's design is directly related to its technology and serious performance, especially aerodynamics. The ZL1 is an amazing performer. At every stage of development, Chevy wanted things that improved performance and looked the part too. This car brings the latest and greatest of everything, all proven on the most demanding tracks around the world. The 2012 Camaro ZL1 is the highest performing production Camaro of all time. It is built to be track capable right from the showroom. This is the car every Camaro fan dreams or should dream about. A sports car that looks mean but feels comfortable and docile enough for everyday driving. When you pull the trigger, know where you're pointed. So what I've just described to you in the new 2012 ZL1 is probably the most desirable Camaro of all time. But for some people, that's just not enough. Who would be crazy enough to want a badder Camaro than that? Well, that would be Baldwin Motion's Joel Rosen. I mean, if the nice Little ZL1's not enough juice for you. How about this news? Joel Rosen, Baldwin Motion, is partnered with Denoyer, Chevy's Performance Division, and Redline Motors to build and market the Motion 427 and 454 Camaros. You heard it on KarKix first. More than 40 years ago, Joel Mr. Motion Rosen, a young Brooklyn dyno tuner, hot rodder, street racer, national record-holding drag racer, turned a simple 427 Camaro engine swap into an empire and shot Baldwin Motion and Motion into the spotlight internationally, a brand instantly recognized with collectors. Working with Baldwin Chevrolet, he was one of the most prolific builder marketers of modified big block Chevys during the supercar 60s and 70s. He backed up Phase 3 models with written money-back performance warranties. Go get that now. He's now passing the torch to Howard Tanner, a young dyno tuning specialist and speed shop owner. But it's like deja vu all over again, said Joel. We've relaunched the Baldwin Motion and Motion brands again, this time capturing the true spirit of what we did in 67 to 74. Market built to order, dyno proven and warranted SS and Phase 3 427 and 454 Camaros. Crafted by a high-tech dyno shop and available exclusively from a single authorized Chevy dealer. In 67 to 68, Baldwin Motion marketed its full-line 427 Chevys under the Fantastic Five banner. Advertising, marketing materials, as well as windows at Baldwin Chevrolet screamed Fantastic Five! And now, that's how they're building Motion Camaros again. The 2011 to 2012 Fantastic Five are an SS 427 with 525 horsepower, Phase 3 427 with 600 horsepower, an SS 454 with 550 horsepower, and a Phase 3 454 with 625 horsepower. And it's a torque monster. But for some people, that's just not enough. And so they're going to build the Phase 3 427 SC, an 800 horsepower supercharged supercar. Complete details can be found at the link at KarKix.com. Look for official Baldwin Motion. This is the golden age. Life is good. And we'll be back with more after this.
Don't forget to tell our sponsors that you heard about them on KarKix. That's how we keep the show rolling. Now, here's the host of KarKix, Bob Lang.
When you talk about the current Mustang, the current base model Mustang, it gets 31 miles per gallon highway, and it has 300 plus horsepower from a really nice six-cylinder. Watch for an increase in both of those numbers as time marches on. And I'm talking about the base Mustang here. This is what we used to call the secretarial car that you could walk in any Ford showroom and get for around $20K. The base Mustang, 31 highway, 300 horsepower, $20K. Those are awesome numbers. Now, you remember back in the days when the option list was as long as the New York Times classifieds? Nowadays, standard means air conditioning, full gauges, console, dual exhaust with aluminum wheels, and in my humble opinion, it has some really great seats too. Ford calls it a no-compromises Mustang, and they're right. The GT, the next step up, is just under $30,000, and it adds the 5-liter Coyote motor. Nicer wheels, 4-wheel discs, limited slip differential. Are you getting the picture here? We're getting more now than we did then. How cool is that? But as the Japanese and the Europeans started to make headway into the U.S. market, there were always those words that pony car lovers hated to hear. It won't handle on the track like a European car. And specifically, and a lot of times they were talking about BMWs, and lately the M3. Enter the 2012 Boss Mustang, point for point matching the M3 on the track and a good deal less money, with more curb appeal than Adriana Lima, the girl from the Kia Super Bowl ads. Okay. How about SI swimsuit model Kate Upton? No? Google them, all right? Just Google them. The Boss is back. It's at a higher price point than the GT, a little over 40-ish, but the value is unmistakable. Larry Shinoda, designer of the original, would be proud. Of course, Larry would be proud on both sides of the aisle as he had a hand in the Z28 Camaro as well, and the 63 split-window Vet. If you can bump your budget a little bit, next year, the new 2013 Ford GT500, you'll get 650 horsepower, a 200-mile-an-hour car with a full factory warranty, push-button suspension setup, and no gas guzzler tax. Take that, feds and Euro supercars. U.S. automakers are back. And you would think that all those points are enough, but not for some people. No, still not enough for some people. Some of you insatiable adrenaline junkies. Okay, call our friend Gary Patterson at Shelby American and get the freaking Code Red Shelby. Nearly 1,000 horsepower on pump gas in a well-engineered chassis. The good times are back. Unless you think I'm a complete Fordaholic, I'll give you this notice. The Camaro ZL1 is a great car, maybe even a better all-round car than the Boss. But it also has 140 more horsepower and independent rear suspension and costs $8,000 more than a Boss that can run real close to it all day. Marketing-wise, the ZL1 is planted between the Boss and the Ford GT500 Shelby. And that brings us back to the money deal. How fast do you want to go? How much money do you have? I've been talking about the Mustang and Camaro like they're the only ones in the new age pony wars. But there is a Challenger. I've had a crush on Mopar since the Duster 340 and the Challenger. Wait, no, it was Richard Petty's 43 Plymouth cleaning house, or maybe it was the Hemi under glass. Well, leaping ahead to the pony wars of the current day America, and you know the world has got to be jealous. Our gas is still cheaper and our roads are still longer. The Dodge Challenger was one of the most anticipated retro releases in memory. I mean, the concept car said, "We're back!" And even though the economy said, "No, you're not," the kids at Chrysler kept their eye on the ball and soon had a waiting list. 4 years ago, the Challenger arrived. 2008 models were SRT8s, equipped with a 6.1-liter Hemi and a 5-speed auto-stick automatic transmission. The entire 2008 U.S. run of 6,400 cars were pre-sold, many for over MSRP. Chrysler Canada built 670-plus SRTs uniquely badged as Challenger 500s. So if you're looking for a collectible, well, there you go. May 8th is the rebirth day for those looking for a reason to party. Trim and power levels offered were SE, RT, SRT8, and the SXT in Canada. What up, Canada? SXT adds fog lamps, rear spoiler, larger wheels, illuminated vanity mirrors, security alarm, and a leather-wrapped shifter. In addition, the SXT has the upgrade nav sound system available. The new age Challenger is longer and higher than the old one. It incorporates Mercedes-Benz designed parts, or parts bin parts, from the Daimler marriage. In 2011, the base model got a 305 horsepower Pentastar V6. The SRT8 got the new 392 cubic inch Hemi V8 with variable cam timing, as well as multiple displacement system that was used on the 5.7 engine. The 392 was officially rated at 470 horsepower. Chrysler engineers said they sacrificed some horsepower they could have got out of it for torque, or it would be higher, as if 470 wasn't enough for a factory showroom modern-day pony car. I mean, this car can break a 13-second quarter during your test drive. If you weren't afraid of coding out your salesman, Mopar Pride has got to be back in full force. Note, the new Viper will be here in a few months to raise the roof again, this time with an Italian accent. Oh my. And Chrysler Dodge has their specialty builders too, like the SMS 570 and 570X, the Legend by Petty, and Speed Factory SF600R, and Chrysler's own 2010 Mopar 10, of which 500 were built. Who did the numbers? Are we dizzy yet? Well, relax. Bathe in the joy that your budget, small or large, will get you a great car with style and performance that you won't be ashamed to show up anywhere in. The pony car wars are back, and life is good. I don't know if you want to run out in a buying frenzy and get yourself a pony car. I do. I wouldn't mind having one of each. American automakers are back, and they're uniquely American. And now they're competitive on a world stage and deserve our support. You know, you can help KarKix by spreading the word and passing on links to the show or others through our website, or join us on Facebook and tell us what you think about the Pony Wars. We love to talk cars all the time. That's where we get our car kicks. That's going to do it for our show on the Pony Car Wars. Join us next time on KarKix right here. And in the meantime, join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and you can catch archives of these shows on our website at KarKix.com. There's photographs, articles, and you could even pick up a KarKix hat. So what do you think, Heidi?
That's all for now. See you right here next time with more KarKix. KarKix is a production of Spirited USA, who is solely responsible for its content. Copyright 2011. All rights reserved. Join us on the web at KarKix.com. That's KarKix.com. And on Facebook and Twitter. See you later. Hasta la vista, baby.